Good morning. I'm Mary Winters. I'm a gerontologist and the owner of About Senior Solutions. You are watching Visionary Aging, where we empower you to age successfully. We provide resources and ideas for all kinds of great options as you age, but we want you to stay in control and power. And we know that when you plan a vacation or you plan a wedding or anything like that, a party, the outcomes are better and you get to have more control over those things. So I'm going to make sure that you guys are all informed and get whatever you need. So first, let's go ahead and we'll go through a caregiver question, and we'll go ahead and I know Steve is here today, but let's go ahead and play a little intro. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm good. Yourself?
Good. So what kind of a question did we get today?
A very interesting question today. Gentleman wrote in and he says that he was trying to price equipment, medical equipment for his parents, like wheelchairs, things like that. And he mentioned that they're very expensive. And was wondering what alternatives there are to getting cheaper medical equipment.
It's a great question, and I think the first place to start is to see if it'll be covered by insurance. So you can talk to your doctor. Possibly a wheelchair would be covered, not as likely under home health, but it's possible. Oftentimes they could be covered just a one-time. They have other medical equipment like bedside commode or a shower chair, different things that way that can be covered. And other than that, I mean, there are times where when things aren't covered, we'll have things delivered from Amazon. Some have some good prices. I've actually had clients have a lot of really good success buying really beautiful, elaborate hospital beds, a pretty nice discount on eBay and things that way. But there are also places, we're really fortunate in the San Gabriel Valley in California, because we have something called Convalescent Aid Society. In fact, I should probably have the executive director, Mark, on the program too. They will loan equipment to you indefinitely. And then when you no longer need it, they ask that you return it. But they have everything under the sun. It's pretty incredible. And it's free. So that's another option for people. And then I found also that going to some of the resale stores like Salvation Army, Goodwill, sometimes they have medical equipment and it will be at a much better rate than purchasing it brand new. So those are my tips for medical equipment.
What's the name of the company again that loans?
Sure, it's called Convalescent Aid Society, and it's based out of Pasadena, California, and they are expanding to some other areas in the Los Angeles area too. So really, really fantastic organization, really great organization to support. So we have a great guest on today. We have Charlie Tripp. He's in my office, and he's a social worker, fantastic. And so I am going to go ahead and bring him on. Looks like he keeps falling off the program for some reason. So let's see if he's around. I don't see his photo up here. Here we go.
Gremlins are working overtime.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see if he actually pops up. Hey, Charlie, how are you?
There we go. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So yeah, I don't know if you had an opportunity to hear about our caregiver question about equipment, but Convalescent Aid Society, I think you've used them several times for our clients, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we'll go ahead and I'll chat with Charlie and bring you back at the end of the day. How's that? End of the show.
Great.
All right.
It's a good show.
Thanks. Oh, we lost Charlie. I think he's going to be popping in and out a lot, I think. So let me go ahead and I'm going to see if he'll come back, but I'm going to go ahead and just describe a little bit about some of our concept when we do a plan for somebody. I love this arrow that's around the edge of the circle or the circles, because that represents how everything changes over time. So things change as far as you might have different interests or wishes over time. Your safety may change over time. Our finances change over time. So we continue to put a plan together based on what those three things are. So Charlie, I'm glad you're back. Let's
Yeah,
see if we
let's
can
do
keep you
that.
on here. And oops, did I think I knocked him off. Oh my gosh. Okay, you've got to come back again. So anyway, we put our plans together for you based on your wishes, your safety, and your financial situation. Then we can coordinate what services you need. Maybe you need very little at this time. Maybe it's something that you need more of. So that is how we put it together. So let me go ahead and bring Charlie back. He's going to keep coming back. Thank God he keeps coming back. No, he's gone again. So I'm not sure what's happening with our connection. But we'll go ahead. Let me go ahead and let's see. He's back again. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. Charlie.
Okay, good. Hopefully I stay this time.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, I know what you do for us, but I just wanted to feature you as one of our great social workers in our office and share a little bit about what you do and how you work with our clients and make them feel comfortable when they don't live near a family member oftentimes.
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things we do here, particularly in a place like Los Angeles as care managers, is the ability to connect with family members who live far away, because a lot of people have, moved from other parts of the country to California, or will have kids that grow up here and then, move back east or to the Midwest or somewhere else, or even up to San Francisco. So many of my clients, that's the case, where they have family members who live in places like Baltimore, Toronto, San Francisco, Seattle. And I provide the eyes and ears for the family, by doing regular check-ins, making sure that everything is taken care of, particularly when their family members experience some sort of cognitive decline and they have a hard time managing things that they used to be able to do, with no problems at all.
Yeah. So share a couple stories. I know you've had a lot of success, and I really appreciate the work that you do with us. Share a couple stories with us. I'm familiar with them, but share them with everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one good example would be Mr. and Mrs. M, who live in Pasadena. They had been living together. They have no kids. They've been married since about the 1960s, so probably close to 60 years at this point. And they were doing really well living in Pasadena on their own. Mr. M grew up in Minnesota and Mrs. M grew up in Toronto, so they didn't really have much family nearby, other than a few nieces and nephews that actually live in the area. But they weren't particularly connected with their family, and then as their health started to decline, and they weren't able to manage some of those issues as they were coming on. They started to do things that weren't necessarily taking great care of themselves, to the point where a family member had flown in from Toronto and was very concerned and had called a home care company in to sort of straighten things out, I would say. There were issues with them not seeing doctors. There were issues with them not taking the right medication, not being able to properly feed themselves, maintain home repairs and things like that. Things in their house were breaking a lot. So the home care company came in, and they were definitely great at stabilizing the situation. And then once I came in, I provided those vital eyes and ears for the family so that they didn't feel like they needed to fly out from Toronto every time there was an issue.
Yeah, it's really important. And I know the caregivers are doing a good job. And I think a lot of people misunderstand the difference between the care management that we offer and what a home care agency offers too. So how do you see those subtle differences? I mean, I know even the caregivers could respond to some of those things, but how do you think you really stepped in on a different level to provide that different level of support, which is really on a higher level, I believe?
Yeah, I mean, I think with my background in social work, I'm able to provide a certain level of emotional support for people going through this transition in their life. They had lived independently their whole life, and now were faced with all these different care providers coming in and out, and it was certainly overwhelming for them.
Yeah, they didn't like it.
Yeah, and I was able to be sort of a sounding board to navigate their care. Whereas caregivers are assisting with activities of daily living. Their job description is very defined. I would say mine is much less defined and much more whatever happens, is where I step in. So that's, I sort of have been able to fill in some of the gaps, particularly with caregivers, as far as providing certain resources and doing research for the family and finding companies to fix things and handymen.
Sure.
The caregivers and I work collaboratively on that, but they definitely leave it to me to take the lead, to make sure that the bills are being paid, to connect with the family that helps pay the bills, all that sort of stuff.
Right. Just when they come in, that they're noticed and flagged, and the family can take care of it. And I know he gets very anxious seeing bills too, so there's a little process that you use, which has been very good for him. And I know he didn't have the insight to understand that he actually needed some care and support too. He thought that he was the caregiver, really, and why have anybody there? So I know you've been able to relate very well for him and accept the support in the house and eat something beyond a hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you mentioned that, because that's been an issue that has come up recently, that the home care bills have been pretty high, and he'll call the company and say, why are they so high? He doesn't quite realize the work that they're doing for them, which I can understand because of his, mental capacity at this time, and also the fact that they have been independent for so many years.
Yeah.
And now they need two caregivers taking care of both of them. But their wishes were to stay in their home, and it was really important for them to stay at home. And they're lucky enough to have the resources to be able to pay for the home care that will keep them at home, despite the fact that he is very frugal with money, and that's probably why he now does have the resources, because he was always smart with his money.
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really interesting too is how much pain she was in all the time, and she was, lack of a better word, really a bit psychotic and screaming quite a bit during the day. And I think the other thing that I feel really good about too is that she's more relaxed. And tell me more about how she's kind of transitioned, and if you see the changes too.
Yeah, so with her, it was really a hard balance to strike, I think, at the beginning of my work. She was either under-medicated or over-medicated, to the point that sometimes she would have outbursts and the caregivers wouldn't know what to do, and they would give her too much, of anxiety medication, or if she was complaining about pain, they would give her too much morphine, and it would cause her to become drowsy and out of it. And it was the opposite of having outbursts. It was that she was like a zombie. Mm-hmm. So that was a big part of my initial work, is working with the hospice team and coordinating with the caregivers to come up with strategies to make sure that she was getting the right dose of medication and was only taking things when she really needed it, so that she could be at that nice level of calm, but also aware of what's going on and understanding, the situation.
Exactly. And I think the other thing is really working with her in a way that she just felt better, period. So developing better trust with the caregivers and knowing that you were there to back her up. And she didn't have any family, so it was really scary for her. So I know she's become, she's been able to trust you. And I think that's changed the whole dynamic too. When
Absolutely.
you have a really challenging personality who can trust somebody, and you can train the caregivers how to speak with her too. I think that's also very important, and a piece that people just forget. It's, oh, she won't do this, she won't do that. But it's a technique, it's a talent to be able to sit and communicate, or show somebody else how to communicate with somebody who does have dementia, and they're not going to be reasonable. They have a deficit that they're working with, and we have to work around it. So I think that's great. Tell me another story, and then we'll.
Sure. Yeah, no, just to add on what you were saying, that mediator role is something I feel like I come across all the time. Being a mediator between clients and care providers is such a big part of what we do.
Well, there's some good caregivers out there that just need a little hand holding themselves, and they're frustrated. Think about being with somebody. Sometimes the caregivers are with our clients for 10, 12 hours a day, if not 8.
It's hard work.
So it's hard work, and it's a long day for somebody who has some challenging behavior. So knowing that they have somebody who has their back and can support them and give them some direction, is also really nice, which is what you do. So thank you.
Yeah. So another example I can think of is a woman who lives alone in Pasadena. Her son lives in the area, but he hasn't been involved with his mom really at all, to the point where it's actually, bordering on being neglectful. And her daughter, who lives all the way in Maryland, has been very involved with her case, and is having a hard time managing everything going on with her mom, alongside managing her own career and her own life all the way back on the East Coast.
Right.
So it's, I had actually a very long call with her yesterday to go over some of the issues that we've been working on, because I feel like with a lot of these cases, you do a sort of initial assessment, and then you do a reassessment after some of the work has been done.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like our little diagram here. I guess I don't know. It changes, right? The little arrow around, it changes all the time. So as we get somebody to a point of being more stable, some of the resources and things may change again. So
Exactly.
we're constantly evolving from that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Whoops. Oh, I kicked him off again. So he'll have to come back. Let me go ahead, and while he's coming back, let me show you a quick little sample of some of our engagement. And we have a really neat program, Life Enhancement. We have Life Enhancement coaches who could come out and work one-to-one and really provide more interaction with somebody. So it's not a caregiver, but somebody who just comes in, they spend an hour with your loved one and enhance their life and work with them on a level where they're engaged and having fun with things that they've either never explored before. I was talking about life enhancement and how we can have somebody come out and speak with your loved one and assess them for what might be right in regards to some activities. And when you see somebody that's bored, I think this is a good opportunity to connect with some nice, specialized, individualized activities. So tell us about your other client, Shirley, and some of the benefits that you've provided for them.
Sure. Yeah. So one of the biggest reasons the daughter initially called us for Mrs. B is that she had the real first sign she had noticed is that her mother went to go visit her in Maryland, and was getting lost a lot of the times, was getting confused, even to the point where she would leave the house to go on an errand and wouldn't be able to find her way back. So the daughter started to visit her on a more consistent basis and was noticing that she wasn't paying her bills on time. And she was somebody who always did, she was very responsible.
We lost him again. So let me go ahead and let's pull up and see what it is today on the perk. So today is Friday the 15th, and it's National Rubber Eraser Day. So I don't know, you have to enjoy that. And then tomorrow, well, we have Passover today too, but we have the National Eggs Benedict Day. Wow, okay. So we'll have to check into that. But let's see if Charlie's back. He's not. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to also talk about our little birthday today, because I think our birthday fella is pretty incredible. We have Vester Owens today, who's having a 100th birthday. Pretty incredible man, actually. Let me go ahead and just show him on his own here. He is a resident of North Carolina, and he fought in World War II. He was in D-Day, and he is coming back to his Berkeley County, and they're celebrating him for his birthday. He never really got the hero's honor that he deserved because he was a double amputee after being in D-Day. He is thankful for his fellow soldiers and says the reason that he's here and able to celebrate 100 is because of them. Said he he jumped off that boat and he did not swim, and somebody grabbed him and pulled him to land. And he did have the very unfortunate situation of losing his legs. But my goodness, this man has accomplished so much in his life. Congratulations, Mr. Owens. So excited for your birthday, and I hope you enjoy a very fabulous year. Let's go ahead and we'll just finish up quickly a couple seconds here with Charlie. Maybe he can just tell us a couple little pointers that he worked on with his clients here. And I think he's going to keep falling off. So, Charlie, just tell us a couple really quick points about your client now with your daughter who's in Maryland. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it was mostly just working on, making sure that I was checking her mail on a consistent basis and sending her over the bills so that we can strategize on how to pay them, using either, the daughter's helping a little bit financially, and then also using the money that her mom has. And another big thing too is taking her to doctor's appointments. I've taken her to many doctor's appointments because that was something her daughter was flying out to Pasadena to do, and that was not sustainable,
No.
And she would cluster all of those doctor's appointments within a week, and they'd go to all of them. And now it's much better to spread them out. I can even see that, seniors will often get fatigued from just all the different doctor's appointments they have throughout the week. So I can see that with her. There was one week where we had an MRI and a doctor's appointment, one on a Tuesday, one on a Thursday, and by the end of the day on Thursday, she was exhausted from it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you're with us, Charlie, and thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our families. And
absolutely, thank you, Mary.
Absolutely, have a great Passover, and anybody who's celebrating Easter too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Yeah, happy Easter to everybody, and happy Passover, whatever holidays you celebrate.
Thanks. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'm gonna introduce our lovely Melinda. Let's see if I can find her little intro or not. I may not be able to. Let's see. Oh no, here it is. Here we go. Good morning. How are you? Oh, you're still muted. There we go. You're unmuted now.
My camera was shaking because my dog was itching herself.
Oh my goodness. Good morning.
She's done.
Oh, I'm glad she got that itch in.
Yeah, right.
When it comes, you just have to do it, right?
The morning itch.
So tell us, there are a lot of people we talk to who are getting hip replacements, knee replacements, brakes, that sort of thing. And I know you get a lot of people in the strength shop who've had knee replacements. Why don't you give us 3 tips on how to best manage that replacement in your workouts?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is preparation before the surgery. We've actually over the last decade, we've been more and more receiving referrals from surgeons before the procedure. The surgeons are really realizing that the amount of muscle strength and the support of that joint going into the surgery really affects the outcome.
Wow. Okay.
So the smartest thing that anyone can do is to be as strong as possible going into the surgery. And one of the interesting things that can happen sometimes is we have a client who still trains with us who came to the strength shop on a cane. The surgeon told her she needs to strengthen those knees before her double knee replacement. And through working with us, she strengthened the muscles so the joint was properly supported and lost a little bit of weight. And she still hasn't done knee replacements. So sometimes surgeries can be avoided through that preparation stage, or at least postponed, because she may at some point be receiving that surgery. But so the first big tip is going into it. If you have some weight to lose, that's certainly going to ease up the amount of pressure on that joint. But then also the stronger your muscles are that support that joint, the less pain you're going to feel, but the more successful that surgery is going to be. So preparation is a big one. The second tip would be post-surgery, rest and recovery, not going back to everything that you've done before the surgery. Your body's just gone through a marathon. There's, there needs to be a recovery process in that. And in that recovery process, making sure that you're supporting your body with proper nutrition, avoiding alcohol, things that are depleting the body, so that you're really supporting yourself with the rest and the nourishment that you need, that the body needs to heal. And then the third thing is easing back into exercise in a safe way. So maybe not going right back into the level of exercise that you were engaging in before the surgery, but going to the physical therapy that's prescribed by the surgeon, easing into movements, and then doing something that is very safe, that's going to safely strengthen the body without a lot of impact. And that's why we, Mary, get a lot of referrals from surgeons, a lot of people coming to us post physical therapy after their knee replacements or hip replacements, because we specialize in a method of strength training that's slow movements. And in those slow movements, because we're not throwing the weights up, the weights never land back on the body, so there's no impact. And it is difficult to find workouts that, or even engaging in any type of physical activity that doesn't have an impact to the body. Running has that impact to the body.
Absolutely.
And that can be, difficult on a knee replacement or a hip replacement.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for those tips. That's really fabulous. I'm going to have Steve come back with us, and maybe he can. I already blew it, Steve. I'm sorry. I already shared what day it is.
Hi, Steve.
National Rubber Band Day. I think that's
National Rubber Band Day.
Yeah, I think it is. So,
Close enough.
Close enough. Let me see. We've got this in the stream here. Let's see. What day is this? What day is this one? National Scrabble Day. And see, look how fun these little word searches are. I can never get them though, but we'll send them to you for free if you want. They're really fun. National Dolphin Day. I mean, come on. But look at the puns and things, the silly jokes, and they have a little history. We have a little history on the dolphin. So, and then you get a little word search on dolphins. And see, today is National Rubber Band Day.
Rubber Eraser Day.
Oh, Rubber Eraser Day.
Okay.
Rubber.
Good eyes, Melinda.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm doing this without my glasses.
You know what I love about the perk is that you can kind of learn something new. And
Right.
we've recently started working with someone who was recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And there's like cutting edge research coming out that when you're lifting weights, when you're working the muscles and you learn something new at the same time, your memory, like things fire and your memory doesn't deteriorate at the same rate.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I'll have to send that research. I also see very often flowers or something that has a specific scent for someone where they have these very strong moments of recall.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a gentleman who really was not able to speak, maybe a few words, and we would put a cat, which he loved, in his lap, and he would just, not for a long time, but he would have some very clear sentences and a little bit of the communication with everyone, and then he kind of went back into his own world, but it was really amazing.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're interested in getting the perk, we'll send it to you for free, and that's at 626-359-0108. Just call Jimmy or Teresa, and they will get it off to you in an email and make sure that you can enjoy that every single month.
Good stuff.
I know. Oh, the dog's back. I can hear her.
You can hear her. Yeah, she's just itching.
Sounds great. Well,
Maybe
any
it's time
plans?
for a bath.
Any plans for Passover, Easter this weekend?
We have the kids, so there'll be Easter baskets on Sunday.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
We have the grandson. We're doing an Easter egg hunt in the park on Saturday.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Very fun.
I'm doing the same thing and celebrating my grandson's second birthday. Yay!
Oh.
Happy
All right.
birthday.
All right, my friends. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Happy
Happy
weekend.
Easter.
Thanks.